Hey guys, how's it going? Kire here once again with another Infinite Magicraid video and joined with Veiled Shot. Again, second video back to back here. Thanks for
Let's
joining.
go.
Hell yeah. So here we go. We got the patch notes to talk about, the things that we can talk about but not show. So, uh,
Oh, my least favorite thing in
yeah,
this game, actually.
it's fantastic. It's super good. Um, but let's start with the first thing here. We get the Miracle Wish Up Heroes. They say October 28th, but we already know that it's going to be in 2 days. So then it's going to
Yep.
be, yeah, whoops on there, but it's whatever. So new hero in Tifya. We don't know the kit yet. Nicholas, we're very familiar with. Bari, who is awesome. I think he's an amazing character if you end up pulling him. Super good. Burn is actually pretty underrated in my opinion. Ascendo, super clutch character there for Arena and also campaign and stuff for the silence. And then we also have Sigmund, an amazing HP burn hero. Then for the epics, we have Rudolph, I'm not too sure about. Woosley, who's a good poisoner. Mafka, who's also a good poison healer. And then Capello, which I think is probably one of the worst epics in the game. So pretty solid rate up event. I think all the legend heroes are actually good. I think those are actually pretty sweet. I don't know Tifya. Maybe Tifya is trash. Maybe Tifya is amazing. Not sure. But big thing here is that Rudolph and Nicholas are not available after this event. They're just done. Whereas normally it's after 2 weeks you get access to the characters. Tifya is one of those characters that's just like normal, where you can get her from Excellent Wish and Supreme Wish 2 weeks from after this event goes away. So, what do you think of these heroes?
So Ascendo, definitely like arguably the best arena character if you get her to E1. She outpaces Space, which is arguably the second best arena
Mm-hmm.
character in the game. And assuming you're not like at super high tiers when they're running like massive defensive comps, Sigmund is honestly, I typically prefer Sigmund over Melia in a lot of PvE content.
Completely agree.
Um, Melia
Completely agree.
Melia
Yeah.
shines in like Guild Boss and single
Mm-hmm.
target, but then Sigmund comes in with the AoE HP burn and the support. It feels a lot better. So I think that he's actually a really nice unit. And I also agree with you. I think Bari is just like an absolute burst burn AoE DPS. And as you're saying, I think burn is a little slept on. And I think Bari is honestly probably the best burn character that we have in the game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he really helps the build kind of flush out and be better because he doesn't need as much stats and he just has a lot of DPS and a lot of burns applying. So I think he's really good. As for Tifya, we haven't seen. And then Nicholas, really great, but definitely a whale character.
Yeah. Like I think if you're not going for E1 version of him, I don't think it's worth it. Like he's good,
Mhm.
and if you pull him, I would definitely use him. Yeah, and I think he's also going to make for faction abyss stuff like that. Like pretty much all content, I think he's great. Like so, it's like I wouldn't even feel bad if I pulled him as E0, but it's like it's such an investment to go for him that if you have saved it up and you're waiting for a good hero, I really don't think this is going to be the hero for you for something like that. I would wait for like you're saying like Nazonia or like a real game changer out of these wishes that you can actually it can grow with your account over time, whereas Nicholas is stuck there. And so like even though he's good, if you don't have him E1 from this event, like he's never gonna get any better, which I think is a bummer. Whereas I would want to make my wish hero like this amazing character that as I get more Dragon Eyes through more events, then I consistently can get him up to eventually E3, for example. Way down the line, which it will never happen with a Nicholas.
Yeah, so that would be the statement for this because there's the next feature that I think is a bigger deal to me. But to me, I personally probably will summon for this one. If I got a Sindo, I'd be happy. If I got a Bari or a Barry, not sure how you say it,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy. Tifya, obviously, not sure what she does yet, but she's a new character. If I got her, I'd probably be excited regardless. Sigmund, I'd get a dupe of him, which is great. I
Yeah.
love dupes. I think, honestly, if I could choose like a new legendary that's pretty solid versus a dupe of a legendary that I already have built, I would choose the dupe like times out
Yeah.
of 10.
Same.
Um, so as for Nicholas, I think I actually would want Nicholas the least out of this because I could only get him E0. Unless I got like insanely lucky, I'd have to pull him and an early legendary from the miracle summons twice. Like I'd have to do that twice.
Yeah. It would take so much to like ever even consider, And then also just one thing about Tifya, we know she's a forester and she's an attack hero. Those are the only things we know. So it's like the little hint there to kind of give you guys an idea. But yeah, it's going to take so much for people to like really benefit. But also like if you're a whale, like this is like a no-brainer. You're going to go all in on Nicholas because he's amazing at E3.
Oh yeah. Like this is, if you are going to whale at any point in time, this is the time to do it.
Yeah. You're just like, you know what? This 500 or how much do you think it would be? Like, let's say this $1,000 really burning a hole in my pocket. It's time to do it.
So it's 150 summons per summon. Assuming you don't get lucky and you get every third, so you're guaranteeing it, right? Granted, that's pretty unlucky. So maybe you could like average it down and say like, okay, you only need to summon like 7 legendaries. Let's say just 7 legendaries. Each miracle summon pack, I know because I've seen some people purchase them. I believe it's $100 and you get 120. And so you would need 7 times 150. That's 1,050. So you would need to buzz through like $950 worth of miracle summons.
Oof.
That's a lot.
Because it's 150 each time. Jeez. Yeah, that's crazy. Times 150 divided by.
Might be actually, I don't know, but there's also one copy in the treasure hunting event. I don't know if that'll be cheaper. Usually those are like $400, so I don't think so.
Oh wow, those are
but
yeah. Oh, but you can get it first though, so that's and then that's crazy.
This is why we know that it's exclusive only because I had some massive Krakens check for me that went for that copy in the stupid treasure tournament.
Yeah, so it's a bummer that that's the case. I really wouldn't feel too bad about this being such a good character if we could use Dragon Eyes on him. It would be such a big change. But let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next thing because this is an interesting new feature.
Speaking of whales.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a good segue. Speaking of whales, this is great. This is just for. I got a new feature just for you. Added Incarnate Sanctuary. Obtain a exclusive level 5 legend hero to unlock it. So you got a fully exclusive character. I wonder. Yeah, because you can't do a mythic because it's specifically legend hero to unlock it. Consume the access corresponding heroes of exclusive level 5 legend heroes to unlock bonuses. When heroes of an already owned exclusive legend 5 hero are obtained, only one epic Phantom Dragon Eye will be granted, while the extra heroes can be consumed in the Incarnate Sanctuary for additional bonuses. So I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So it's like you take once you get a character to exclusive 5, then if you pull that same character, they become a epic Phantom Dragon Eye. So is that the so you get the epic version? Only one epic Phantom Dragon Eye?
So I'm not 100% sure about this. First off, I want to say they usually have a lot of translations on the errors on this. So I think it's worded a little poorly. The way I interpret it as is, let's say you own exclusive 5 legend. You can cash that in for an epic Phantom Dragon Eye, but also you can exchange the extra heroes for potentially additional bonuses, like other bonuses. Like you can do the epic Phantom Dragon Eye or like the additional bonuses within the Arcane Incarnate Sanctuary. But that's how I interpret it as. I could see a lot of different interpretations though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It sounds like it's just another version of the Sanctuary. Like it's the whale version of the Sanctuary where it just doubles down, and then as you get more characters beyond there, you're just going to be getting, like let's say more crit damage, stuff like that in a linear case just like this. Maybe you even put them in, like you slot them in like the current Sanctuary, maybe, and then they just go into there. I'm not sure, but it's definitely something that 99.99% of the player base is not going to even touch. So let's move on to something that potentially I wouldn't say most, but like people that are enthusiasts of the game are going to actually be able to use, which are added non-stop combat feature. Reaching Diamond tier in Classic Arena and Advanced Arena can unlock their own corresponding feature. During non-stop combats, you can also challenge campaign stages, Dwarven Ruins, Tower Mark, Faction Abyss, and other gameplays. So the way I'm reading this is that once you have Diamond tier, you get maybe another currency or something that you can use nonstop combat, so you can actually like auto your arena. It is kind of what I'm seeing. It's like it's maybe it's its own currency, maybe it's something where you can like auto your arena battles, so you don't have to mess with them, so you can do other stuff while you're playing arena.
Yeah, the way I interpret it as like multi battles right now, you could multi a dungeon or whatever, and then do arena, or look at your character. This to me is like a better version of multi battle stamina, and that means you can just like you can do your arena, or you can do, let's say you wanted to do run dungeons, like you have a Negia event, so you're gonna pop in like 100 Negia runs, and then you're gonna go do your Tower Mark and your Faction Abyss and your campaign stage or whatever you want to do, because right now you can't do that. I don't know why they locked it behind Classic Arena Diamond. It just doesn't make much sense to me there. Like you have to earn some quality of life. But it seems like a cool feature to me. Like I know there are some situations where I'm trying to like make sure my mind is clear. I don't know if you guys, anyone out there gets stressful where it's like you wake up in the morning, like I got max energy, my tower of key, my keys are getting too close, and like you want to do
red dots
everything.
everywhere.
Yeah. And so like I actually will take advantage of the system, but I actually don't sit in Diamond. Like I put a 1-person defense in, so I drop to like Platinum 2, Platinum 1 consistently. And I don't think I will actually have the feature unlocked for me because I'm hardly ever in Diamond.
Okay. I'm usually sitting like bottom, whatever the bottom of Diamond is. I just sit there. And then if I'm playing, I'll push up to like Diamond 1, fall back to Diamond 3, push up from there. So potentially I'll use it. I'm not sure, but it's like I don't win these battles on auto. Like I win them because I'm like actually targeting the right things. So it's like if you're going to be making me auto, like when I'm finally at the high enough thing where it's hard for me, then now I auto it. I'm not going to use it because I'm just going to get bodied. I'm doing all the autoing on other stuff. And then I manual my arena attempts. And then it's a big pain. And a lot of times I won't do it. But that's the only chance I have at winning at the higher versions of arena, because it's like maximizing what I could potentially do. So
this is why I dropped the platinum.
yeah. So it's like normally I would do that if it was like raid where I can like drop down and do it, but it's like you like I would get so significantly less of those books. So when I would do it, but it's like, you know, then it gets so hard that I don't even want to do it anyway. So I'm probably, you know, not even being efficient anyway, but it's kind of the reason why I at least try to stay there. And then, so feature adjustments, we have added a confirmation pop-up when adventures craft a mythic hero. Okay, that's good. You could just, apparently you could just click the button before. You could just like lock that in. Like they have that now with the auras, where if you click it, so like you can have a legendary aura, like yes, you can revert it, but before you couldn't, it would just be one button, it would just go. Like when I did it on Ben Austin, and then I was like, this is like equivalent to a mythic. Like this, like tell me before I do this.
Yeah, that's scary, man. That's so scary.
Yeah. And then optimize the calculation method of the adventurer's power. Okay, more accurately display the player's overall strength. Okay, that's cool. I wonder if that changes like the dungeon amounts. You know how, because I kind of have an idea of how strong stuff is by just looking at the power of the dungeons, and I wonder if that's going to change. It'd be kind of interesting to see. And then also reduce the requirement of classic arena and campaign quests. I think that's good. On my free to play, I'm going to like that a lot because I was really not looking forward to 1,200 arena attempts. And then this is the one I'm like weirdly bummed out about, which is HP connection inflicted by Nasakma cannot be cleansed, which I'm really bummed out about because he's such a pain in the ass to deal with that not being cleansed is actually a big deal. I think that's going to make people's runs significantly harder, and Faction Abyss is already hard as hell, and he's one of the big issues with it, and having that non-cleansable is a really big deal in my opinion.
So yeah, this is something that well, when I was going through the patch notes, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you know, most of this doesn't matter, and I'm like, oh, I was like, dang, huge buff for my Nasakma because I actually have one, but I was like, wait a second. This guy's usually the big problem with rum. Like this guy is the problem. Like I'll load up a bunch of HP burns, and then suddenly my Zanya is dead, or like my Melia or Liz is just dead randomly. When normally they would have no issues surviving because of Nasakma. So this not being able to be cleansed is actually a pretty big deal, to be honest, and I think is more of a nerf than a buff because the NPCs have a million HP, guys. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't just nuke through them. It's like it's not really that easy.
Yeah, it's him. There is going to be a big problem. He's already a problem. And then what I'll have to do, like, because I was doing ramen, I figured it'd be easy, but you have to manage and make sure your Catherine's not your strongest. Because if Catherine has your highest attack, you just lose the run, basically. Because if she doesn't cleanse it, then what happens is pretty much anyone that has it pretty much is guaranteed to die without a cleanse. It was just there were so many debuffs that it wasn't guaranteed. Whereas now it's super not guaranteed to where you're gonna not cleanse it. So it's like I was making my run in Rum happen to where I would give it to like Visly, knowing Visly's gonna die eventually because of that HP connection thing. But now it's like pretty much 100% going to kill at least someone. So just I think that's definitely gonna make this more difficult. It's not crazy more difficult, but at the same time, kind of annoying that they would just like throw that out there. To make content, because a lot of content kind of hinges upon like him being an issue. So kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I think they that was like the intention, because like it's not like HP connection can't be cleansed. It's Nasakma's HP connection cannot be cleansed, which I feel like is a little dirty.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of Marvel Strike Force, where they would do this, where they would move the goalposts on PvE content constantly, where you would, okay, I would have something cleared or it would be something that's difficult, but then they would change it and make it even more difficult, where it's like, okay, fine. You know, this is already hard stuff. It's not like people are like, oh man, you know, I'm just already clearing Faction Abyss 30 or whatever. It's like I'm hard stuck 24 with a like full team. Like you don't need to make this stuff harder. You know, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah, 100% agree. It is very difficult. Now, that's kind of the end of the patch notes, but I wanted to ask you a question, because to me, my perspective on this game, I don't make rant videos on this game. I make a lot of rant videos for Diablo Immortal, okay? Because I think that they actually do a lot of things that are bad.
Fair.
But for this game, I don't really do that. Like, I don't think there was anything in the game so far that has been worthy of me actually making a critiquing video. The only thing has been the Nicholas exclusive. And I did do a dedicated video for that because I felt like that was worthwhile to do so. But following that up with a complete whale dupe system has me thinking. The critique that's starting to enter my mind is I feel like there's been a significant shift in the past couple of patches for whales. Like I feel like they're hardcore targeting like whales. Like if you look at this content in here, let's be honest here, what kind of like who actually gets to interact with this content as a free-to-play player? The Miracle Wish is not a free-to-play event. Nicholas is not a free-to-play character. The new characters are not. The new features you literally can't use. Like I just look at my base summons without the Dragon Eyes that I've used. The highest exclusive I have is a 1 exclusive. Low spending since global launch. Not going to be able to access that feature till like a year in. Most people aren't in Diamond tier arena, so like they can't even use the quality of life feature. It just kind of feels like I will say I don't have any problems with the patch. I think almost everything except for the Nasakma thing is something that's a good thing in the game. Like it doesn't detract from the game. But my worry is that they're going to start prioritizing updates and using their like developmental time towards more of a whale perspective. And that's my worry. And I wanted to bring that up because I feel like there's been a trend towards that. And I dislike the trend, but not the updates themselves. Like that's, I want to make that clear.
Yeah. So I feel like when it comes to this, these games as a service kind of thing, it's like the feeling of the game is always going to be dependent on how the patches are changing it. It's this unfortunate kind of partnership, or I guess agreement, that you have between the player base and the developer on making like them happy and us happy at the same time. And there's going to be this kind of potential growing sentiment between maybe like a bitterness based on their patches if they're going to focus on the whales, not so much on the main player base. I feel like I'm noticing the trend in these two patches, definitely in the Christmas event. It feels very whale-centric. At the same time, though, a lot of the patches that they've been making, first of all, the frequency of the patches is very high, which I commend them for. I think that's good. And also, a lot of the quality of life and changes that they've done have been good. in the past. And so it's like, I don't want to harp on them too much, but right now, yes, this is a worrying trend, I guess, that they're doing this. But at the same time, I don't want to get too kind of doom and gloom here, because I think what they've done is really good. And if you compare this to what Raid is doing, it's infinitely better. And all we can really do is compare this to other competition. So it's like, I think a lot of people have their own ideas of what the game's going to be good, but a business is not going to do the right thing. They're going to do just good enough compared to make themselves profitable versus another company. So it's like, I think they're doing that right now, in my opinion. You mean, it's not perfect, but I think at the same time, so far it's good. You know, this is a ever-changing goalpost that is going to be set by them in the future, and they can either fumble it or they can do good by it, but this point is always going to be fleeting and always going to be changing. So it's like right now, I think it's, you know, you're on the cusp of, okay, that's a little too much whale stuff. And then maybe they'll, you know, the next patch they'll rectify it. Maybe the next patch they go even more whale stuff. So it's like, you never really know with this. And it's just a never ending struggle between the player base and the games. And it's just kind of unfortunate that that's where gaming is at this point. But at the same time, what we get out of this is that we get a game that is always going to be updated and always going to improve. Hopefully just improves in a way that we actually find enjoyable. So it's kind of my opinion in general when it comes to these kind of games.
Yeah, and I agree, and I also think that they've done a lot of things that benefit the whole player base. Even with this Christmas event, I think it benefits every single player, even though you might be able to beat the whole event, maybe, but you're going to benefit from it some way or another. The only thing I'm worried about is I hope that they listen to some feedback, because they're usually pretty good about that. So I'm curious to hear what they're going to say. They've been kind of on a little bit of a break here, so that's probably why they haven't really responded too much. But what I will say is that they usually are pretty good at responding to feedback. So I'm curious to see what these next patches will be. And as you said, I'm very happy that do weekly patches. This is one thing that I think is kind of like the lifeblood of mobile gaming. You need like consistent patching or consistent events, or preferably all three, or insane marketing, right? You need, I prefer all three, but you know, this game doesn't really have that insane marketing, but they do have really consistent events. Like there's always like 2 to 3 events running, and they're always consistently patching. And so as long as they keep that up, I feel like we're in for a good haul for them.
Yeah. So I just think it's, I completely agree with what you're saying. I like to just kind of have both sides of it, because I've just seen, like, if I go on Reddit or if I go on all these things, I see a very negative take, and I just want to kind of have a more positive approach when it comes to these things. At the same time, while also not just trying to gloss over criticism. I think what people are saying is fair. It's just when it comes to a game, I want to create a positive environment where people that actually like the game can come and not just see a whole bunch of comments saying that this game sucks and I want to quit. And so it's, you know, like that's kind of where I'm looking at it. And hopefully they actually do good by us. But, you know, it's just kind of an unfortunate reality of these kind of games. And if they don't, then there's so many other games we can play. It's really not the end of the world if they don't. So that's just kind of how I look at it. So I think that's going to wrap up the patch notes here. Definitely go sub to Veiled Shot if you haven't already. He's been doing content in this game a lot longer than I have, so I would be surprised if you're in that situation. But if you aren't, also be sure to check out one of his other 5 channels. I believe you have 6 total. How many do you have total?
I have 5 right now, but a 6th secret one. So
okay. So if you could find it, let me know in the comments if you can find his secret 6 channel. Okay. So, but yeah, all of that will be linked down in the description below. Thanks for joining me. This was great. I think this is a nicer way of being able to present the patch notes instead of just me reading them off. We actually get to have a little discussion here, so this is a lot of fun.
So. Yeah. I hate that we can't show the notes, but at least you can talk about it, because it's a little awkward sitting here, and because you can't show the notes, you're like reading it word from word, and you're like, please listen, because if you don't listen, you're gonna miss it, and it's a little awkward. Sure. Also,
they're the ones doing the miss. What is it? They're not putting it out right. It's like, trust us. It's not like perfect. So all the issues are, if we're incorrect, like, we're doing our best here. But I wish we can show it and be like, no, like, this is what we got to work with. But yeah. So just and then also this should be out like in a day or something, so you'd be able to see it. They present it nice. It always looks way better than what we got when they have it ready to go.
Yes.
So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's it is like just shooting in the dark. I mean, you just
uh-huh.
have to guess with some of these sentences. He
Yeah.
is the best thing you can
uh-huh.
do.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, it's been real, guys. We're out of here. Peace.